Hi there, welcome to the first part of the second Atomic Endgame series. So this is going to be more intermediate level endgames. I'm going to start off, the first few videos are going to be looking at pawn races, following on from the final video on the basic series, just kind of taking it kind of to the next level. And then I'll look at some kind of piece endgames, so piece versus pawns mostly. So this one is very similar. If without the H-pawns, it would be very similar to the last video looked at in that basic series, and that is just a simple pawn race, and both sides have two retreat squares, so whoever has to move first loses. So this position here is black to move, and the key thing I want to show here is there's a technique that you can use in pawn races called mirroring. Well, I've never heard anyone else call it that, but that's what I tend to call it myself when I kind of think about these particular types of endgames. And that basically means that whatever black does here with his H-pawn, white will simply copy it. So after H6 he'll play H3. H4 would be a terrible blunder, because then H5 would mean it would be white to move. So after H6 you play H3, H5, H4, and then you end up in that same situation where black has to move and he loses. The best defense he can do is to connect the kings, but then you're left with this queen versus rook pawn. So this was covered in the basic series, how to win this, so I just won't dwell too much on these moves. Key is to put the queen on the horizontal square, attack the pawn horizontally, and then there's a simple win. So that was a very basic case of mirroring. I'm going to quickly bring up second position in this video. You can see there are now 3 pawns on the king side, and the technique that white would use here, it would be very, very difficult to calculate all the different possibilities and what happens if I move here, he moves there, and trying to calculate it out in your mind. It'd be very difficult, but fortunately you can just copy. So every move that black plays, you just copy it, and then as soon as black makes a capture, you just make the same capture and keep everything symmetrical. And if you just play through this yourself, just a few different variations on it, you'll see that just by copying you automatically win the race. And that's a good thing to have, because you won't often get a situation exactly like this. You might have a situation where one side has moved one of their pawns, or maybe there's been a couple of pawn movements, but you can often use it as a reference in your calculations, where like if he goes there, I do this, I create a mirror, and then I win. So it's a good shortcut to have in your arsenal, and that's what I'd like to take away from this video. It's a very nice technique that I've used myself on a number of occasions to win games which should have been very difficult to calculate out otherwise.